Now, the question is like this. The question is that Ahmedabad has a particular vision of development, and the vision is on the west side. Okay, and that comes from looking at retail. It comes on looking at development. That way looks at scale and has an attitude to finance that is looked at as a certain large ticket size, which means a developer needs to have a certain amount of capital in order to develop in a particular manner. If I'm going to use, for example, the advantages of FSI that transport-oriented development corridor allows for. Okay, so I get an increased FSI along a transport corridor, allows for higher density, which then services, finances the cost of infrastructure. That's well known. Now, the problem with the old city is that my economic scale is not a kind of large-scale retail, the Tatas. It's not Reliance. It's a homegrown, family-run business, which is a much smaller scale. What urban policy have you heard of in the last decade and a half that talks about development for that scale of business? What is the aspiration that a Kirana store owner has in a 5-year period? What is that aspiration? What should his shop do in 5 years? That's the question that is not being answered in the planning of our cities at all. What is our warehousing policy for that scale of business or industry? Yes, of course, Amazon has the policy for their scale. But at the scale of the Kirana store who needs inventories of a much smaller volume, where do I store? Where does the real estate allow me to in the old city? So the houses are being used as warehouses because I need proximity and I need space. And those houses are dilapidated. So nobody wants to live there. So they are depreciating in value because they are being used as warehouses. So the whole environment there now has lost value because nobody wants to live with a fire risk. If I'm storing goods, it's a fire risk in a wooden house. Storing electrical products.
What is the ideal use?
The only vision that right now we have is tourism, that they should be used as homestays. People who are actually living there as their first homes, I don't think we have the right policies for them. I don't think we have an imagination of those policies as to what kind of livelihoods. And we're not talking about people who are necessarily poor. Like if you go to Kalupur's cloth market, we are talking about a business of 700 crores a day. All I'm saying is they can afford their own temple. They have enough political clout to be able to impact municipal action in their area.
It's not a money problem.
It's a political will of whether we want to organize these cities in a way that benefits the people that live in them, or whether the only way that we can think about these kind of historical contexts is through gentrification and tourism. That's the only imagination of space that you have. You don't know how to think about it for the people who live there.